President Biden to suspend his presidential run in 7 days' time. You're hearing it right, folks. Biden will be out of the race in less than a week. You're not hearing this from yours truly. I want to present this to you from some well-respected individuals within Democratic circles. You're going to recognize all of these folks. It is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I want you to listen to this first former presidential candidate. You'll know him when you see him, and we'll talk about it in the comments. I'd certainly like to hear your opinion on this.
What is your prediction, my smart friend?
I think this is Joe Biden's final week as the Democratic nominee. I spoke to a Democratic member who has not gone public, saying that he will be going public pretty soon. And there are a couple dozen swing state members who feel that they will lose their race in November if Joe Biden is at the top of the ticket. So if you can imagine those members of Congress fighting for their very political survival, and Joe Biden's statements have not sat well with them. You have senators led by Mark Warner who privately are saying something very, very similar.
None other than Andrew Yang. I believe he ran for, was it in 2016 alongside Hillary Clinton and the rest of them when there were a host of Democrats running back then. But listen to some of the things he says. Now, he's stating within 1 week. Now, this video is 1 day behind when he stated that, so we're down to 6 days if Andrew Yang is correct. What do you think? Any chance that he may be accurate on this? Now, he makes a really good description of why Biden is not likely to stay in the race. One being exceptionally important. If you lean left, or hell, even independent, God forbid if you are a never Trumper, this should be very important to you. The suggestion that leaving Biden in is not likely to just cost Biden the election. Down ballot races, Congress, Senate, governors, all of those folks that are tied to the Democratic Party, if their candidate, their top candidate, is not a viable choice, it could affect everybody else. Keep in mind, a lot of folks said that about President Trump in 2020. When he didn't win the race, you know, if you bring a bunch of haters to the polls, let's say Biden brings a bunch of folks who hate him to the polls to vote for Trump, they're going to vote Republican as well. So for senators, Congress, all of those folks, if that person is showing up out of dislike, dissatisfaction with Biden, they're probably going to be voting Republican all down the ticket. This is what Andrew Yang means by you're hurting the Democratic Party in down ballot races. So we'll talk about that as well. But also one very important thing that Andrew Yang states here, and you're hearing this from a lot of Democrats that are speaking out, is that in private circles, far more people are saying that Biden shouldn't do this than they're saying in public. I think just today alone, you've had George Clooney, actor Michael Douglas was on The View today, both stating that Biden should step down. They are big Biden and Democratic supporters of the past, admitting that this guy is not going to make it. George Stephanopoulos of ABC News, Good Morning America, and This Week with George Stephanopoulos, one of the Sunday shows, he was asked in public by a stranger, do you think Biden could make it? And he came out and said, no, he can't serve 4 years. And Nancy Pelosi, wow, who's in her 80s, her damn self, is starting to say that Biden is not the candidate of choice. Now, that's only 4. If someone like Nancy Pelosi, someone like, the George Clooney's and folks in Hollywood are saying it, you can be damn sure there's a hell of a lot more people that are saying it, but they don't feel confident stating it out loud because they think maybe their careers or their donations, their money might dry up or something of that nature. This is very similar, by the way, on the Republican side too. So this is a both sides issue. There's a hell of a lot of Republicans that don't necessarily favor Trump. But once again, if you speak out against Trump, MAGA is going to smack that ass. And that could be your entire political career. Shout out to Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. So I do believe that is kind of what's at play here. There's a hell of a lot of Democrats are keeping their mouths shut and not stating their feelings, their true feelings on Biden, because they don't want to put their damn careers at risk. Nevertheless, I think Andrew Yang may be onto something by admitting that in private circles, they are saying something different. And if it's hurting down ballot races, this could end up being Trump a victor in November with control of both the House and Senate. So that is what Andrew Yang is alluding to and saying he should step down in 7 days, or saying he will. But Andrew Yang is not the only one. I didn't come here to just present you with one guy as a know-all. Here is another well-known face.
And let me just say that I think that so far there's been a rock slide. There hasn't been an avalanche. There's been fewer, as I count them, than 10 Democratic House members who have voiced their absolute opposition to Joe Biden. So I don't think you're there yet. I don't think that you've got the avalanche yet. What you do now has to include Kamala Harris. That's the only way forward for Democrats.
None other than Geraldo Rivera. We've known him from everything from his own talk show to the Al Capone's empty vault. But he's been around for a very long time. Now, he says it a little different. He's trying to suggest that only 10 Democratic congressmen have came out and stated publicly that Biden needs to step down. But as I stated earlier after covering Andrew Yang's statement, if 10 are saying it out loud, you can best believe there's a lot more that are a little bit more hesitant to come out and say it. But 10 of them, there's no shortage of folks coming forward. I mean, there's like 200 and some Democratic members of Congress. So 10 is a small percentage, but they are willing to come forward and state that Biden could cost him the race in addition to his own longevity. Now, Geraldo suggests that the Democrats need to rally behind Kamala. If Biden's not going to make it, if Biden has to step down, I do believe there's validity in that statement, but he also clears up something that I had come, up on my show when I was just going back and forth with a few Democrats and progressives on my show. And feel free to tune in, A Handsome Liberal, 1 p.m. Central, Monday through Fridays on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. But what he points out is that if the 25th Amendment is used, it is the natural progression to go to Kamala Harris. If Biden resigns, the natural progression is to go to Kamala Harris. It's not where you have this, contested change and everybody gets to vote, and it could be anyone in there from Gretchen Whitmer to Gavin Newsom, and a bunch of people are vying for the position. No, the process is if he don't make it, it goes to the vice president. I think that's what Geraldo Rivera is alluding to, and that was my understanding of it as well. It's only 4 months to the election, folks. Only 4 months remaining. There's not a lot of time to get people out to vote and go through all of this shit. Because if it was a matter of having to pick between Gavin, Gretchen Whitmer, and a host of other Democrats, do you hold an election? Is this where the people are involved, or is it where the Democratic Party is involved? It could be a mess. Could be a mess. Now, that's not to say we may not get a candidate that would be more favorable than Kamala, though. Kamala's not very favorable in a lot of Democratic circles. Hell, even with minorities, she don't have huge favorable numbers. However, there is one benefit. They're running against Trump. And there's a lot of people that do not like Trump. So that will work for the Biden administration. There are people out here telling me that they don't give a damn if Biden was deceased, they would vote for him over Trump. I don't think they'd say that if the candidate was Nikki Haley or Chris Christie or hell, even Vivek Ramaswamy. But fact is, there are a lot of never Trumpers out there. So that is a benefit to President Biden. Last but not least, one more opinion coming from yet another well-known talking head.
Should Republicans be even more nervous as the news for Joe Biden gets worse?
It's inevitable that President Biden will not run. It's a matter of when. The countdown has begun. Barack Obama has bailed on Joe Biden. As far as who's going to take his place, what I'm hearing is Kamala Harris has the most support because the others, the governors, Whitmer, Shapiro, guy out in California, Gavin Newsom, they don't have any organization. They don't have any juice in D.C. So it's probably going to be the vice president that takes the slot on the ticket.
Bill O'Reilly it is. Bill O'Reilly's been saying for a long time. I tune in and watch Bill O'Reilly. Been watching him for 20 plus years on Fox, and now I watch him on his YouTube platform. He's been saying at least a year, I think, almost several months for sure, that Joe Biden was not going to be at the top of the ticket. He's been saying that for quite a while, that Joe Biden was not going to make it. And if there was ever a time to listen to what Bill O'Reilly is saying and think, yeah, he might be onto something, now was it. I mean, there's no guarantee that Joe Biden is going to step down, as Andrew Yang is suggesting, but if there was ever a time when I began, or many people began feeling more and more likely that it could happen, shit, it's now. It is now. So it's looking more like Bill O'Reilly may be onto something than talking out of the side of his neck. And he also says, and I don't know if I quite believe this, that Obama has bailed on Biden. But I am hearing many suggest that in Democratic circles, like Andrew Yang pointed out, folks, including Barack Obama, are saying that Joe Biden should step down. If Obama is telling him that, and he's not doing it, that takes away the whole claim that Obama is the puppeteer for Joe Biden. Because if he's controlling Biden, it should be pretty damn easy to get him off the ticket. So if Biden is pushing back against Obama, it is what it is. But you hear Bill O'Reilly state that. Now, Bill O'Reilly is no fan of Joe Biden, Barack Obama, or anything with a D behind its name. So you got to kind of take Bill O'Reilly with a grain of salt. But he is saying that. And last but not least, he is also, like Geraldo Rivera, stating that it will be Kamala. I'm starting more and more likely to believe that as well. I mean, if Biden steps down, I believe the procedure requires it to be Kamala. So we'll see. So I want to ask you folks, what do you think? You think Andrew Yang is on to something, saying that Biden will step down in 7 days? He's not saying eventually like Bill O'Reilly or Geraldo Rivera is alluding. He's actually got a damn countdown going on. Let your boy know in the comments. And if Biden steps down, do you believe Kamala would be the best successor for him? If not, I'd like to hear your candidate of choice. MAGA, feel free to speak uncensored in the comment section, but I'm going to take with a grain of salt any recommendation coming from MAGA to replace Biden. It is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. See you in the comments.
Barack Obama is going to have to sign off on whoever takes Joe Biden's place. You got to understand how this works.